Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Refocus Your Health program. So, this program is 6 weeks, and today we're doing week 2, which is looking at mental health and how to improve it, as well as at the end, we're going to go through some mental health first aid. So, today we're going to talk about a few things. We've got what is mental health, what impacts your mental health, what positive psychology is. We're going to look at the PERMA model and do a little activity. We're going to look at the link to mental health and your physical health, and then look at exercise benefits as well as nutrition benefits, and then finally some mental health first aid. And if you're in person or on Blue Jeans, we'll also be doing a meditation session as well. So today we have a few outcomes. We want to have an understanding of mental health, including what can impact it, how to positively influence it. We're going to have the ability to use the PERM model and understand how to assess someone's mental health. And you have to excuse my voice, it's a bit coarse. I'm not feeling that great today. Alright, so straight into it now. So what is mental health? Often we say mental health. When we say it, our minds jump to mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety. However, mental health includes social, emotional, and psychological health, which affects how we feel, think, and act. Mental health is about the condition of our mental well-being, how we deal with life stresses, how we relate to others, and make decisions in life, whilst working productively and contributing to society. Positive mental health allows us to cope with the stress of daily life, work productivity, make meaningful contributions to the community, and realise our full potential. Research has found that positive mental health is also associated with increased learning, creativity, productivity, a better social life, behaviour, relationships, and improved physical health and life expectancy, whereas mental health conditions impact on an individual's ability to cope and function day to day, their relationships, physical health, and life expectancy due to higher suicide rates. So we spoke briefly about what impacts our mental health and well-being in the first session, but just to recap, the following factors influence it, whether it is positive or not. So we've got biological factors such as genes or the brain chemistry. We've got life experiences such as trauma, abuse, or neglect. We've got a family history, so if you've got family history of mental health diseases, that can impact your mental well-being. We've got individual factors such as self-esteem levels, coping skills, physical health, sexuality and thinking styles, and current circumstances, so stress at school or work, bullying or harassment, money problems, difficult personal relationships, or even family problems. So firstly, let's look at positive psychology. This concept was developed by Martin Seligman in 1998, who was the president of the American Psychological Association. He looked at psychology from the perspective of understanding human strengths instead of identifying and treating mental health conditions. This positive psychology model focuses on promoting well-being and creating a life filled with meaning, pleasure, engagement, positive relationships, and accomplishment. We can sometimes get caught up in the challenges of everyday life and forget about the strengths we do possess. This includes framing things in a positive light. So when we talk negatively, we are putting negative thoughts and ideas into our heads and the recipients. However, if we talk positively, then we are promoting a positive outcome and encouraging success. Consider this. Do you tell your child, "Don't be nervous about your test today"? This puts the idea of being nervous in their head and isn't constructive in any way. Whereas if you say, "Go and ace your test today," you are enforcing a positive attitude, demonstrating you have faith in them and encouraging your child to succeed. This then articulates the desired outcome. So we've got the PERMA model now, or flourish, another word for it. Everyone seems to be in the pursuit of happiness nowadays, but what if we had a model like this PERMA model to help guide us? There are many ways to reach happiness, including training your mind for happiness, spending money on others, and following the guidelines presented here for well-being and happiness. But what are the actual elements that promote happiness within each of us, and how can we prioritize them? So Seligman's theoretical model of happiness, or PERMA, helps us understand these elements and what we can do to maximize each element to reach a full potential of happiness. So we've got positive emotion as our first key element, then we go to relationships, accomplishment, engagement, and meaning. So we'll go into each of those now. We've got positive emotion. This element is perhaps the most obvious connection to happiness. Focusing on positive emotion is more than smiling. It is the ability to remain optimistic and view one's past, present, and future from a constructive perspective. A positive view can help in relationships and work and inspire others to be more creative and take more chances. In everyone's life, there are highs and lows. Focusing on the lows does increase your chances of developing depression, although the equation for depression is very complicated. Regardless, there are many health benefits to optimism and positivity. How do we distinguish between pleasure and enjoyment for this? Well, pleasure is connected to satisfying bodily needs for survival, such as thirst, hunger, and sleep, whereas enjoyment comes from intellectual stimulation and creativity. Things like beauty, celebration, gentleness, courage, awe, joy, laughter, appreciation, acceptance, kindness, and empathy are some of the positive emotions we can feel as a result of the experiences we have. So think about the last time you felt a positive emotion. Who or what was present, or what were you doing? By identifying these, you can help with strategies to improve your mood next time you may be needing a booster. Moving on now to engagement. So activities that meet our need for engagement flood the body with positive neurotransmitters and hormones that elevate one's sense of well-being. This engagement helps us remain present, as well as synthesize the activities where we can find calm, focus, and joy. People find enjoyment in different things, whether it's playing an instrument, reading a book, playing a sport, dancing, working on an interesting project at work, or even just a hobby. When time truly flies by during an activity, it is likely because of the people involved were experiencing the sense of engagement. We all need something in our lives that absorbs us in the current moment, creating a flow of blissful immersion into the task or activity. This type of flow of engagement stretches our intelligence, skills, and emotional capabilities. Next, we have relationships. So the very obvious one, relationships and social connections are crucial to meaningful lives. Too often, the pursuit of happiness has this Western bias of individuality, where each person steers their personal happiness ship to shore. This is not realistic. We are social animals who are hardwired to bond and depend on other humans, hence the basic need for healthy relationships. We thrive on connections that promote love, intimacy, and a strong emotional and physical interaction with other humans. Positive relationships with one's parents, siblings, peers, co-workers, and friends are a key ingredient to overall joy. Strong relationships also provide support in difficult times that require resilience. In an interview with Dr. Mitch Printines about his course on the psychological of popularity, Printine explains the research on pain centers in the human brain. Basically, our pain centers become activated when we are at risk of isolation. And from an evolutionary perspective, isolation is the worst thing we could do for our survival. These activation centers are like fire alarms in the body, discouraging people to continue feeling this pain and ideally reconnect socially with someone or a group. We need neurologically to know that we belong to a group. It helps us feel safe and valued and has for millions of years. The next core pillar is meaning. So having an answer as to why we are on this earth is a key ingredient that can drive us towards fulfillment. Religion and spirituality provide many people with meaning, as can working for a good company, raising children, volunteering for a greater cause, or expressing yourself creatively. Unfortunately, the media worships glamour and the pursuit of material wealth, impacting many people to feel like money is the gateway to happiness. While we do need money to pay for basic needs, once those basic needs are met and financial stress is not an issue, money is not what provides people with happiness. Understanding the impact of your work and why you choose to show up at the office may help you enjoy the tasks and become more satisfied with what you do. Whether you work in an office or not, think about what you spend most of your time doing. And does it provide you with meaning? Excuse me. And lastly, we have accomplishment. So having goals and ambition in life can help us to achieve things that can give us a sense of accomplishment. You should make realistic goals that can be met by just putting in the effort to achieve those goals and it can already give you a sense of satisfaction when you finally achieve them, and which also gives you pride and fulfillment. By having accomplishments in life, it is important to push ourselves to thrive and flourish. It is an achievement that is pursued for its own sake because one has a desire to master it, usually because of intrinsic or internal motivation. There can be small or big accomplishments. For example, only hitting the snooze button once when setting your alarm clock, or grabbing some healthy food over unhealthy choices. Or on the other hand, they can be larger, such as finishing a university degree or meeting your weight loss goals over time. So we've got intrinsic motivation, which is where you are internally motivated. There's no external factors that are pushing you to achieve it. Whereas there's extrinsic motivation, which is the opposite. So extrinsic motivation is something, say you complete a task or a job because you are required to do so from an external factor, or you do things from an external point of view. So they're the 5 key pillars to the PERMA model. So being aware of it might help you consider the meaning and fulfillment to your life. So the next step is to integrate this model with your daily life. As a start, we recommend you refer to the 5 elements of the model often. Find the things that make you happy and can make you fully engaged. You can even put goals on challenging yourself in the activities you enjoy. Focus on your relationships with your family and friends, and find ways to connect with others, even if it doesn't come naturally to you at first, as well as finding the meaning to your life and what gives you a sense of purpose. And remember, it's always going to be different for everyone. So if you're with me in person now, we're going to do a bit of an activity. Otherwise, if you're over on YouTube, let's continue on. You can use that document I sent in the email to fill out your PERMA model favourites. Now, we know poor mental health can lead to things like headaches, upset stomach, increased blood pressure, chest pain, skin conditions, fatigue and muscle tightness. We did touch briefly on this last week, and as well we do know that prolonged poor mental health can also lead to things like mental health conditions, weight loss and difficulty sleeping. So that's why it's so important to try and focus on your mental well-being and do whatever you can to improve it. Even if you don't really notice that you are maybe going down the wrong path, it's still good to try and focus on it. So, exercise. Now, exercise is great for mental health because it promotes neural growth, it reduces inflammation, and induces new activity patterns that can promote feelings of calm and well-being. It is also well known and researched that exercise releases endorphins, which are powerful chemicals that energize you and promote a positive feeling to help you relax and your muscles, thus releasing tension from the body. Exercise also has the added benefit of boosting your energy levels for both physical and mentally. Other benefits that you might experience would be sharper memory and thinking, so having a better concentration and feeling mentally sharp due to the endorphins and the growth of new brain cells, and prevention of age-related decline. Higher self-esteem is another one, so habitual exercise can foster self-worth and feeling powerful and strong, so you'll feel better about yourself and your appearance and have a sense of achievement. You'll also get better sleep, so relaxing exercises at night can actually promote sleep. The exercise in general regulates sleep patterns as well. You will also have more energy, so increasing your heart rate several times a week can help to give you so much more energy, and as well as stronger resilience. So regular exercise can boost your immune system and reduce the impact of stress. It can also provide a better alternative to dealing with stress if that is your way of dealing. So trying to use exercise as your your medication for mental health, it can be quite beneficial. Then we have nutrition benefits. So unhealthy choices such as excess processed foods, sweets, and foods with a low nutrient value can undermine mental health. Excuse me. So try to cut out takeaway, chocolate, chips and crisps, and go easy on the alcohol, as alcohol is a depressant as well. Healthy fats such as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, as well as polyunsaturated fats, can boost your brain power and also improve your mood. Fresh fruit every day also has some great benefits, and fresh vegetables or salad Enjoy whole grain cereals, nuts, beans, and lentils as they contain more fiber, thus are a lower GI and prevent sugar highs and crashes. Magnesium is also important, with studies finding supplementing magnesium led to improvements in depression and anxiety, regardless of age, gender, or severity. Okay, so that's mental health fitness. Now we're just going to touch briefly on mental health first aid, and then that'll be us done for today. So try and look for signs for someone that might not look okay. So the signs that you want to try and look out for are eating or sleeping too much or too little, if they're removing themselves from social activities. If you find that a friend or a family member or someone you know looks low or has no energy constantly, if they're feeling numb or like nothing matters, if you have unexplained aches or pains, feeling helpless or hopeless, unusual levels of smoking, drinking, or drugs, as well as feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared, having trouble concentrating or remembering things, yelling or fighting with friends and family. If you or someone you love is experiencing mood swings, that can be another telltale sign that someone isn't okay. The inability to perform daily tasks. So if you're just, on the weekends, you usually get a lot done and you're finding that you just can't get out of bed or can't get off the couch. Performance at work, TAFE, school or uni is also another telltale sign if they're not doing as well as they used to or you aren't. And as well as persistent negative thoughts. So if you're hearing voices or believing things that aren't true or considering self-harm. So by looking out for all of these things, you can help yourself or someone around you that might not be okay. Now, a few stats. Thought I forgot a slide. There it is. Mental health facts. So about 20% of the world's children and adolescents have mental health disorders or problems. Mental and substance use disorders are the leading cause of disability worldwide, and about 800,000 people commit suicide each year. It's also the leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-olds. Mental disorders are important risk factors for other diseases as well, as unintentional and intentional injury. Stigma and discrimination against patients and families prevent people from seeking mental health care. Human rights violations of people with mental and psychological disability are routinely reported in most countries, and globally there is a huge inequality in distribution of skilled human resources for mental health. And these are the 5 key barriers to increasing mental health services. So we have an absence of mental health from the public health agenda and the implications for funding. The current organisation of mental health services is another barrier. A lack of integration within primary care, so it's not recognised as that kind of primary care that we need. And an inadequate human resources for mental health, and a lack of public mental health leadership. And then lastly, financial resources to increase services are also relatively modest. So it's quite a big thing in the world today, and it's got so many barriers to try and improve it for our community. So we do have some, and that's why we want to point them out. Another slide, sorry about that, guys. So if you want to have a quick read there's those barriers I spoke about. Now, where to seek help. So there is a state mental health telephone access line, so there's 13 14 65, which is staffed by mental health clinicians. There's Lifeline 13 11 14, which has confidential telephone counselling. There's Men's Line as well, which is another confidential counselling for men. There's the Kids Helpline, which is telephone counselling again. Beyond Blue, and as well, these services are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, if you work for Silver Chain, you also have access to our Employee Assistance Program, which is, again, it's free counselling that we provide to our staff and your close family members. If you're ever feeling like you just need to talk to someone, that number can be found on the intranet. If you are keen to get it, email wellbeing@silverchain.org.au and I can send through the details. So they will talk to you over the phone if they feel that's all you need, or they might organise face-to-face sessions as well. So we didn't really touch on mental health first aid on what to do. So if you find that someone isn't looking okay, if they have these signs that you can see, ask them how they're feeling. There's nothing wrong with having a conversation. You know, are you okay is such a powerful message to send to someone, just that so that they know that someone is there, someone wants to listen to them, so that they have that support. And if you're not feeling okay, talk to someone, because if you don't talk to someone, you know, that can be quite detrimental to your mental health. Okay, well, that seems to be it for today. If you're in person, we're going to do a meditation session. If you are on the recording, there's a link that I sent in my email that you can go to. It's a meditation session to cultivate joy and happiness. So it's kind of in line with what we've been talking about today. Now, if there's anything that, you know, you want to know, or you need some extra help there, feel free to email me and I can try and do whatever I can to give you the answers you might need to help. But otherwise, thank you again for listening to my session. I hope that you've enjoyed it so far. If you are joining us next week and you would like some advice, we do have a bit of homework for you. You would have got a link, a document in the emails I sent. So if you want to, you can write down your 3 days worth of a food diary and then send it back to us, and Caitlin will be able to give you some helpful tips to better your nutrition, which will be the focus for our next session. Otherwise, I hope to see you next session, and yeah, feel free to put forward any feedback that you might have. Thank you, guys.